In this session, we're going to go ahead and start with homework exercise number 14 from section 5.2. Okay, this problem is a little bit tricky in that it appears it is the opposite of 8 squared. And notice the reason I'm saying it's the opposite of 8 squared is because the base is 8 and not negative 8, because in order for the base to be a negative 8, it would have to have parentheses. The negative would be included in the parentheses. So this problem is really the opposite, which is multiplying by a negative 1 and 8 squared times 8 squared, which is negative 1 times 8 times 8, which equals negative 1 times 64, which equals a negative 64. Okay, so notice here, if the parentheses was around the base, negative 8, then it would be a negative 8 times a negative 8, which would be a positive 64. But notice it's at the opposite of 8 squared. It's automatically assumed if the negative is not part of the negative is not part of the base, so it's really 8 squared times a negative 1, so our answer is negative 64. Now, the good news is the calculator will do it correctly also. So let's first put in the answer, negative 64, to make sure we've got it correct. Now, in this problem, it's the negative, and then it's 8 squared, which we said is negative 64. It's negative 1 times 8 squared. Now notice, the calculator will do both correctly. If it was a negative 8, the base, negative 8, and that's squared, then it's negative 8 times negative 8, which is 64. So the good news is that the calculator does it correctly both ways. It agrees with what we do pencil and paper. Let's go to problem number 15. Negative 1 squared. This time the base is negative 1 because the parentheses is around negative 1. So again, negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1, and negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so you can see here the answer is 1. And again, the calculator will do it correctly. Put in 1, get our answer. And again, the calculator this time, the base is negative 1. So we put parentheses around negative 1, raise it to the second power. Then we get the correct answer of 1. For number 16, we have a negative 20 divided by 5. A fraction means division. The basic rules for division are same as multiplication. When one's positive, one's negative, a positive divided by a negative is a negative, or a negative divided by a positive is a negative, and then two negatives, negative divided by negative is a positive, or of course positive divided by positive is equal to a positive. So in this case, 20 divided by 5 is 4, but a negative divided by a positive will make it a negative 4. Again, you can use your calculator to go ahead and do this problem. Fraction means division, so we have a negative 20 divided by 5, and there's our correct answer, negative 4. Number 17, negative 7 divided by negative 1. 7 divided by 1 is 7, and negative divided by a negative is a positive. Obviously, you can do it on your calculator. Negative 7 divided by negative 1 is a positive 7. Zero divided by negative 5. Whenever you have 0 in the numerator, as long as you don't have 0 in the denominator, the answer is 0. 0 divided by any number, whether it's positive or negative, is 0. Again, you can do it on your calculator. 0 divided by a negative 5, and you'll get 0. Now, when you have 0 in the denominator, you cannot divide by 0. that means there is no answer, which another way of saying that the expression is undefined. 0 in the numerator, you have 0. 0 in the denominator, it's undefined. If you do it on the calculator, -7 divided by 0, you'll get the error, divide by 0, error. So that's kind of a warning that it tells you there's no answer. Okay, so 0 in the denominator, undefined. 0 in the numerator, it is 0. Okay, now we have, in this problem for number 20, we have more than one operation. We have an addition and we have a dot, which means a multiplication. Okay, probably you've heard in a math class before, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally or Sadie. P stands for parentheses. E stands for exponents. Then you do the exponents. Multiplications and divisions from left to right, and then additions and subtractions from left to right. Okay? Everything in parentheses first, do the exponents, do multiplications and divisions from left to right, group them together, and then additions and subtractions group together left to right. Okay? So we have, in this problem, 2 plus 4 times 7. Notice there's an addition and a multiplication. You do the multiplication first, even though it's to the right, because in order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you do the multiplications before the additions. So 4 times 7 is 28, and then 2 plus 28, of course, is 30. So the correct answer is 30. Now, the calculator has the correct order of operations built in. So all you have to do is copy the problem, and you'll get it correct. It'll automatically do it. So you can just put in the whole problem one step, 2 plus 4 times 7, and it's automatically going to do the multiplication first, 28, and then add the 2. Now, it's not going to show you step by step, but it will give you the correct answer. So the order of operations are built into your calculator, so you don't have to do these problems step by step or by pencil and paper. You can just put the numbers in your calculator. Okay, now again, this one, be careful here. That's a -5. That's a subtraction because it's in between these two numbers. It's not in parentheses, and then that's 2 times a -4. So again, you can do this all in one step on your calculator. You have in parentheses, it's a -5, right? So remember, the negative is below the 3. -5, we're subtracting, which is the gray key, and then we're taking 2 times. You don't have to put in a times, you can just put in parentheses. Calculator will automatically do it. There's the entire problem, hit enter, and it will give the correct answer. It'll do the correct order of operations. The answer is indeed 3. Again, if you did this paper and pencil, you would have -5 minus 2 times -4. You would do the multiplication first. 2 times -4 is -8. And then you have -5 minus a -8 is plus a positive, right? Minus a negative changes to adding a positive. So -5 plus 8, subtract the 2, 8 minus 5 is 3. You take the sign of the larger number, which is the positive. So our correct answer is 3. Same answer we got using the calculator. Again, you can use the calculator. You can put it all in one step. The calculator has the correct order of operations built in. Okay, here's another problem. You do it on the calculator. 3, then it's a subtraction. Then it's a 5 times the quantity. That's a -7 because it's in front of the 7. And then actually it's between two numbers, so that's a subtract 4. So you got to get the negatives and the subtractions correct. Okay, Subtractions in between the numbers, negatives in front of the numbers. And there we go. The correct answer is 58. Again, if we do this problem step by step, 3 minus 5 times negative 7 minus 4. First, we would do inside the parentheses. So 3 minus 5. Negative 7 minus 4 is negative 7 plus a negative 4, which would be negative 11. And then we would do the multiplication before the subtraction. So bring down the 3 minus. 5 times negative 11 is a negative 55. And then minus a negative would make it plus a positive 55. 3 plus 55 is 58. Okay, which is the same correct answer we got using our calculator. Okay, another order of operation, you can do it on your calculator. 7, and then the base is a negative 2. It's squared. Then we're subtracting 3, and the base is a negative 3, and that is also squared. And we get our answer 1. All right, so you can simply put it in your calculator. Order of operations is built in. Again, if we do it, pencil and paper, exponents first, right? So 7 times a negative 2 squared minus 3 times a negative 3 squared. Negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, which is actually a positive 4, right? A negative times a negative. And it's same thing, negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. All right, now we're going to do the two multiplications, correct? Before the subtraction, 7 times 4 is 28. 3 times 9 is 27. Now we have the subtraction left. 28 minus 27 is equal to 1, which is the same correct answer we got using our calculator. Okay, and let's do one more problem. 4 times, in parentheses, 4 subtract 6. That whole quantity is squared. And then we subtract 7 times the quantity 1 minus 3. That whole quantity squared. Again, copy it in, hit enter, and we get our correct answer, negative 12. Whoa. Whoa, okay. Why did I get it wrong? 1 minus 3, quantity cubed. So if you have, so we need to, I put in a square. So it's 4 times 4 minus 6. And then it's minus 7 times 1 subtract 3. And it's to the third power. Okay, I had the squared power, so now we get a positive 48. Was 4 times 4 minus 7 times 1 minus 3 cubed. Four times 4. Now I forgot the squared on the 4 minus 6. We'll get it right eventually. All right, 4 times 4 minus 6 squared, there we go, minus 7 times 1 minus 3 quantity cubed. I hope I finally got it copied correctly. All right, there's a story to be learned, a lesson to be learned. Make sure you copy it correctly if you're using the calculator. And there we go, we indeed got it correct. All right, we'll stop this video here. If you have any questions, send me an email or call me at 239-938-7805.